The scale factor?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, these are two for me visually. So
It's
this
both
elevation
one.
this plan is 75% about the scale of this elevation.
It's a little, yeah.
They're too close to be, if it were half the scale, I think.
It should be 50%.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Among the clean scales, it should be
Yeah.
So it's not reading.
minimum 25.
Especially if it says, it just looks to me like this was there.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering whether, if you wanted to show this gauge as part of a wall that's now been absorbed, to show more of the wall, if this were, let's say, half the scale of the plan, and we're, you know, up here, upside down, or in some way, that's a way that we could get an intermediate.
Or the reverse.
Well, it's sort of the reverse. Could be larger?
Well, no, you're saying that the elevation should be smaller?
The city elevation could be much smaller.
Because then it could be extend more, because the real deal about this particular is less about the gate than it is about the morphology of the wall as it goes along the edge.
But the terrain that it begins to.
Right, but there's a part of me that says, particularly from this distance, I mean, literally, that the kind of detail that one can show, the real changes in the wall in that particular somewhat arbitrary stretch of it, you know, those sort of Baroque additives that came with the fountain, the pissoir, the little finials that got added to the buttresses at some point, which are clearly not, 13th century. You know, there's a lot of kind of ongoing renovation of that particular. That doesn't really show unless you do it at a certain size. But there are changes in detail, openings, and that kind of thing. So I can make an argument for making the plan really small because it's kind of the least. Right, the plan as it is today is kind of less instructive in what's happened to that piece of the wall than the elevation.
But I think a great convention of watercolor is the ability to overlay.
Yeah.
Right. And I think you're doing it. You've got a couple instances sort of timidly of this map being over, but an analytic can support these different scales just by letting things bleed over one another, and then you get a sense that maybe this thing that's in a much larger or a smaller scale fills the entire page, but it's very light. You just get that texture coming across.
Can we extend this conversation to Porta San Giuseppe and the two that can just be lifted over to your side of the table, which are these two, because one is a strategy that we haven't seen before. It's terribly amazing, if not Ernstine, if not deeply. It's like I asked the brick what it wanted to be. I asked the brick what it wanted to be, and it said "spun in space." So Porta San Giuseppe, which maybe you want to, Kaya, you want to locate it. I don't know that. I know Dan hasn't seen it. I'm not sure there is.
Looking at it at a bigger scale, I mean
It's not one of these internal ones?
It's one of the internal ones.
The compo's right here, and so it basically functions out into this terrace right here, and Porta San Giuseppe is meeting. It's a meeting point between the city gate coming from outside the country.
Which city gate?
I'm not familiar. I mean, it's out here, and it's not my spawn.
You were supposed to go find that one. Through what were you supposed to walk?
I walked down, but I
Through the
didn't
garage.
include it in the drawing.
It's like,
Right, the parking lot's right.
Parking garage. Which has some kick-ass section to it. That's all right. Adam didn't go to it. Adam never got through the gate and looked up. And
I think I know what this
Lost
is. So
forever.
it's a big arch that's been infilled with a smaller arch.
It's been well, Adam, take it from here. Explain that. Very gorgeous, but
I'm sure
truly
Tyler had the
exquisite.
same experience. The arch itself, it's located in plan
Why haven't you even planned it?
Yeah, and then going to a little bit larger plan, it's located here. So you come at this kind of T or Y. There's a building here, it's like a convent where the topo completely drops off, and there's some buildings on the side. Basically,
That church.
yeah.
It's on that side pocket though. You will know it
Yeah.
from the scouts of the Campo parking garage. when you-
Yeah. Okay, I got turned around. It's 2 feet, it's here 2 feet. Right.
Now, we tried to find the original CATIA drawings for this gate, but it's been lost.
So this is plan.
Correct.
Plan bleeds into or partial elevation. And this is perspective.
This is actually elevation.
But what is this?
That's perspective, yeah.
Right.
Well, it's perspective within the elevation.
This is completely warped. The
Right.
arch itself is made of a series of
Yeah,
warped
it's just a
particles.
series
Mm-hmm.
The ground is a compound curve. It's incredibly complex.
It's like this area all up in here is if you were standing underneath the arches and looking directly up. And I was more fascinated with just the texture of it, and also how the convent actually frames kind of the arch just as a physical facility. You can almost go right underneath the arch, and if you don't look up, you probably miss everything that's really going on.
So this is a real compound drawing where something kind of turns into something. It almost implies more a kind of darkroom photographic effect, like some of those German photographers. What's his name? Using rough roof.
Well, Roost is the former guy, Rust is the architect.
Whichever, but who's the one who uses the a lot of negative risk?
Gursky?
No, not Gursky. It's, are you?
These are all out of focus